Pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's do that.
Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Warzinski?
Here.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. DeCiccio?
Here. At this time, is there any residents in the audience who would like to speak? Okay, Aaron.
Okay. So National Fuel and Energy Transfer both have representatives here. Regarding National Fuel, just a couple of updates. I've been reading the FERC reports, and they issued one report that said that National Fuel anticipates that the Shell facility will begin taking gas through the newly installed National Fuel to Shell interconnect in the third quarter of 2020. So I'm thinking that probably third quarter 2020 would be when the residents would be notified of gas flowing. Does that sound reasonable, I thought?
Well, whenever they're ready to flow the gas, then we'll shop the reports and the investigation.
So they'll notify you before it's going to flow.
Yeah, we had that discussion.
Okay. Okay. So that was one item. And the other thing is that they published today the final FERC report, and they're going to discontinue submittals of their weekly reports, which is where I had gotten a lot of information, stating that the project is pretty much 100% complete. So that being said, I did have a couple of questions for National Fuel, and there is a representative here. I don't know, I was gonna ask about access on Ivy Lane, still planning on using Ivy Lane for access or not.
I don't know if they're still pursuing that or not. It may be, since the job's 100% complete.
Okay. I'm gonna call Trevor myself to ask a couple of questions, but Ben, you're here. Do you have any questions to ask National Fuel?
I do.
Okay.
Scott, I guess it looks as though the project's pretty much done at my place on golf course. And now that everything is complete, and I can see what it looks like, what's going on. From my property, because it does adjoin my property, there's a lot, the site really is not very pleasing to us, my wife and I. My concern is if we were to sell the property at some point, our property could be evaluated some. Also, the noise, it's not loud, but there is a hum. There is a humming noise that I noticed, and I don't know if that'll continue, not sure. But I thought it may be possible to put up some type of a barrier, evergreen, giant arborvitae, whatever, along there somewhere. If you could come down to my place, I'd appreciate it, and I could show you exactly what I'm talking about at some point. Sure. Okay, perfect. Just maybe I can get, I'll give you my number.
I'll be in the area tomorrow.
Morning?
I have 1:30.
I have
in the afternoon.
I don't know if it's possible to do anything in the morning. Probably leaving for work or that. What's the earliest you have to do there? That's great. Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have questions for National Fuel? No? Okay. Then for Energy Transfer, you have Chris here. I'm gonna ask, any updates on permit status?
No, I think it's pretty much status quo, regarding the ability to do work on the right of way. I think we established last month, as far as this growing season goes, we've accomplished a lot this year. I think that's a testament to the hand seeding and the work that the crews worked really hard to achieve, you know, over the summer. But, you know, I will tell you that that's a good thing for ENS control and erosion and sedimentation control. But as far as the being able to work on the right of way, we're still kind of in the same position with the department. Continued emphasis on, you know, compliance and you know, making sure that you know, we're communicating and doing all the things that we need to do to be able to eventually be able to work on the right of way these additional repairs, but we're still restricted to the handbook. So.
Okay, and then tie that in with the waterways and wetlands order from the DEP and changes regarding.
No, I mean, we're still in kind of comment, you know, hermit reconciliation with the department, more than all of those fronts.
Regarding the DeMarco house, it seemed like in the summer, the garage was kind of like used as a fuel station. I was wondering, is the house now going to become like a fuel station for the winter? If we start seeing lights on there, you know, that's.
No, we're, same status. I mean, you know, occasionally we'll have, you know, folks accessing certain areas of the right of way with, you know, basically side by side, you know, equipment. But that's really the only thing that we would use the house for, in addition to keeping, you know, the utilities on, the pipes, you know, moving. So yeah, periodically we have folks checking in on the house and maintaining the property. I think that's a good thing for the neighborhood. We don't want that, you know, sitting there vacant. So I think folks are on average about every day.
Mostly it's the garage they've been using, so I was wondering, are they gonna need more inside the house?
As far as equipment?
Not equipment, I'm just, meeting location, whatever.
No, I think pretty much status quo for now. That's really the only intention, was to utilize that space in the garage. So they could be close to that right of way area. That's a high priority for us.
Chief Graham, I just might involve you a little bit, maybe you can give me some direction. I called Energy Transfer about a week ago, that one day I was hearing a lot of target shooting in the woods back behind my house. It's between my house and Buffalo Hill Road. It was closer than I had ever heard before. Probably a good 6 dozen rounds.
Did you call the police?
That was my question.
There's no,
What should I do?
there's no target shooting in Center Township, only
Okay.
hunting. You know, if you have a legal hunting license, actively engaged in hunting game, legally you can discharge a firearm. Other than that, there is no target shooting. Sometimes people will do that and we'll be notified, we'll go in and we'll advise them, you know, they can't do that.
So I asked Energy Transfer, and Chris is gonna follow up with me. I said, does it have to be posted no hunting for me to call?
Well, I mean, if they're hunting and they have permission, that's one thing. If they're just discharging a firearm, like I said, it violates our ordinance.
Okay.
So they can't discharge a firearm unless you're actively engaged in hunting. And if the dispute is whether they're hunting on that property legally or not, that might be a game commission question. But I doubt if they're shooting a couple dozen shots if they were hunting.
I agree with you. That's why it sounded like they were target shooting. And both.
Yeah, we can follow up to make sure that the property is, you know, we don't have any agreements with anyone allowing them to access the land unless there's some agreement that, you know, that right, but I can check with Matt on that. They have with, you know, the former property owner. That's the only thing that I can think of is if there was, you know, agreement that they had. But I don't want to commit to that. I'd like to verify that, you know, prior to.
What I can tell you, my understanding is my daddies were animal lovers. No one hunted on their property. It was all the Marcos were hunters. Tom DeMarco was a hunter, but I can count on one hand the number of people that he allowed to hunt his property.
Okay.
He did not open it up hard walk to people.
The only person that I can think of would be the, you know, the former landowner himself, and they may have had some sort of, you know, gentleman's agreement that he may have access to the property in the future. But I'd have to check on that. I don't know that.
That's my questions for Energy Transfer. Does anybody else have questions for them?
Yes, I do. Maybe it was this weekend, Saturday or so, I saw the workers down below my home.
You're on the left or right side of
She's right beside me. On the left.
Gotcha.
Working with the blue spongy thing or
The compost filter saw, the
Yes.
big round thing,
yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
the blue thing.
yeah. That's erosion and sedimentation control, temporary stabilization. That's really what we've been doing even since September of last year.
Do they release the water from that? And then they fill them back up again? How does that?
No. What will happen is that, so it's not designed to really stop water. It's really an erosion control device. So it's designed, it basically is like a filter, right? So, depending on the type, different types of, like Karen mentioned, filter sock, right? Silt sock as we call it, they can become, oversaturated and need to be replaced. So there's a lot of that, going on the right of way. And so, it usually, when you see that, is after like a big, rain, event. And I don't think we've had one in the last, 3 to 4 weeks. So, exactly what they were doing, I don't know, but really it's erosion and sedimentation.
Anybody else have questions for energy transfer?
I do have some news tonight, so, and this is for the board as well, and anyone else that would, care to know. So Energy Transfer, of course, is a big company, right? We have close to 86,000 miles of pipelines in 38 states, and one of the priorities that we have as a company is supporting, asset supporting first responder organizations, training with them, partnering with them, supporting with them with their primary mission. And so we, have a competitive grant making program whereby asset supporting first responder organizations can apply for funding for various, equipment, personnel protective, equipment, whatever the case may be. And so, Center Township Volunteer Fire Department actually had applied to the Energy Transfer First Responder Fund earlier on in the year, and I think that their grant was pending for a few months. But I am happy to advise that officially, that they were awarded in the full amount requested for what they had applied for. So I think that was some thermal imaging cameras. There was some turnout gear that they had applied for, and then just everyday odds and ends. I think it was like some hose reel that was nearing the end of its expiration. And so, happy to report that they have been awarded in the full amount requested. So we're working on getting that funding together and plan to attend, an upcoming fire department meeting. But that was close to $25,000 in funding that they've been awarded for. And so that was one of a number of competitive applicants throughout the state and the Northeast that were awarded this cycle, and it's something I think that I'm really excited about because over my career I've learned a lot about first responder organizations and how austere those federal and state funding measures have become, in addition to how stressed the organizations have become with regard to retention, keeping their brigades up. And so for us, it's a really good opportunity to establish our support for those types of organizations. And I really think that this one was due to the strength and the merit of the application that they had put in before the board. So like I said, it was approved in the full amount requested. We'll be working with Chief Rucker to make sure that we're communicating with them and hopefully publicizing more their mission and what they do here in Center Township, and kind of calling attention to some of the needs that I have. So officially, congratulations, Chief, for your application. We're successful, and we'll work on getting the funding organized so that you guys can do that stuff as soon as possible. So congratulations.
Thank you from the board, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's why I have.
Oh, yes. Anyone else? Yes, Bill.
Bill Walsh, President. I'd like to read 2 sentences from the
minutes, approved minutes for the meeting of May 21st, 2018, the regular meeting, which is the meeting where the fire code enforcement ordinance was approved by the board. The minutes say, the township solicitor presented the fire code enforcement ordinance for the board's approval. He stated the ordinance was advertised in the Beaver County Times on May 18, 2018, and was available for public inspection in the township office. So then there was a motion, it was seconded, all agreed to adopt ordinance 4-2018 fire code enforcement ordinance, motion carried. That was the item in the minutes. Now, I went through the body of this ordinance, and I counted at least 12 times in this ordinance where it was stated that the office that was created within this ordinance was called either the Fire Code Enforcement Office, the Office of Fire Code Enforcement, Fire Code Enforcement Officer, at least a dozen times. That's the reality of what this ordinance means. It is about regarding Fire Code Enforcement Office. Why? My question is this: why was it magically changed in the title block to say providing for the Office of Fire Code Prevention and setting forth regulations governing said office? To me, that is misleading, intended to be deceitful to the public, because it does not represent what is in the ordinance. It's deceitful. It's false advertising, and this ordinance is invalid, in my opinion. Now, I'd like to know why you changed, or whoever changed it. I understand there was a co-author to this. Maybe it was the co-author that did it.
I drafted it.
Why was the word changed from enforcement, which is a kind of an edgy word, could be threatening to some people. It's a harsh word. It would be perceived that if it were in the title to be a pejorative word, that people would say, what? What are they doing? Are they going to throw me in jail for 90 days for a summary offense? What's in here? So they would read it. But if it's presented as the Office of Fire Code Prevention, well, hey, Fire Code Prevention, that's great. Everybody loves fire prevention. So you deliberately put it in there, change the wording. 12 times in the body I said it was Fire Code Enforcement, and you changed it to Fire Code Prevention, and I want to know why.
I mean, I guess using the word change would imply that the wording was a certain way to begin with.
No. At any time
you spoke, sir.
it.
Let me speak. You spoke. I'm going to give you my explanation. The title of an ordinance is meant just to be illustrative of what generally the body of it is going to contain. The reason, excuse me, but I'm going to continue. The reason why the ordinance is made available for public inspection is so, one, to cut down on advertising costs so the entire ordinance isn't published in the paper. Second is so people can obtain it, read through it, and see what the board is going to pass. There was nothing intended to be misleading about the title versus what was in the ordinance. The ordinance was establishing a new office of fire code enforcement, and contained within that office are officials who were to enforce certain rules, to make inspections, to do a number of items that this board established in that office. So there was nothing that was intended to be misleading or to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. The wording wasn't changed or anything of that nature. You're interpreting it a certain way. This board, and I would never advise them to pass an ordinance that would be misleading the public. And again, to reiterate, that's the reason why these are made available for public inspection, so people can read them, come to the meeting and say, I have an issue with this ordinance. And if they do, then we address it.
Yeah. And the reason you published it with the wording of prevention in bold, in all capital letters in the newspaper, I look at the thing, is so that people would just pass over, gloss over it and say, well, that's my opinion.
Sure.
This is an invalid ordinance, because you just stated right now that the title is supposed to be something that represents what's contained in the ordinance. You just said that.
The title is essentially a summary. And if you look at what the law requires us to do, we complied with the law in advertising a summary of the ordinance and making it available for public inspection. It complies with what the law requires. a public body to do before passing an ordinance. I can assure you we were in compliance with that.
Where in this municipality is the Office of Fire Code Prevention located?
Well, the creating an office itself, office is not necessarily a physical location. Creating the office is establishing the authority of individuals to take action on a particular topic. So Mr. Brucker, who happens to be our fire chief, is listed as the fire code essentially official. So creating the office doesn't mean that we're actually giving a public
Billy has an
space.
office.
Yes,
Oh, but he does?
There's
Okay,
an
well,
office right
but I'm
here.
just explaining what the.
He has an
what that-
office,
yeah.
is it called Office of Fire Code Prevention?
It is, it's over here, it's a
Fire
second,
prevention.
right, it's a second door over here. It is in existence, and it's been in existence,
The office doesn't need to be a room, it's the officer.
but he still has an
Right, he
office.
still has an
Yeah.
office.
And I think it says that on the door.
It does.
It's misleading. The title is misleading because it doesn't represent the mentioned 10 or 12 times in the body of the ordinance of the penalties and the violations. And as a matter of fact, it goes above and beyond the law because the law says up to $1,000 fine and 30 days in jail, and you jacked it up to 90 days in jail. Now, why did you do that?
I drafted the ordinance in accordance with the law, sir. That's all. I mean, I can go if you want it. I can go piece by piece through the ordinance, and I don't want to make it. That'd be a futile effort to do that here in this forum. But like I said, I drafted the ordinance in accordance with the law, and what the law allows the township to do.
I disagree with that, but I'll
fine.
respect your opinion.
Anyone else? Approved minutes, October 21st, 2019, public hearing?
Second.
I vote yes.
Yes. October 21st, 2019, regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Yes,
Yes. November 4th, 2019, work session?
Motion.
second,
I vote yes.
I vote yes. November 14th, 2019, budget work session?
motion,
Second.
Yes.
Yes. Ned, engineers report?
Okay, 2019 roadway improvement program, we did submit the invoice to Columbia for the agreed, we had the agreement that, we would swap paving and they would pay us a little of that, so we submitted it. So the township should be receiving $23,191.99, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. We'll monitor that. I did receive, and we need to approve change order number 1 to contract 19R02. This extends the contractor's time of completion until May of next year. Also, his letter's attached where he has agreed to hold the price and also agreed to pave Raccoon Road if the board so chooses at that time.
Make a motion.
second, yes,
Yes.
Raccoon Creek Road update. This is relative to the First Energy work. That work is complete, so we're just waiting for their earth disturbance documents to come in just to clean up their bonds. The paving of that work is complete.
I'm sorry, what kind of paperwork are you waiting for?
Just for their notice of termination for their NPDS permit. Cedar Ridge Estate stormwater pond improvements. The contracts were executed. The solicitor and I met with 2 residents this evening. Both of the meetings went, I think, very well. And at the conclusion of those, they asked when could they come in to sign the documents. So we only have one more homeowner to meet with, which we have not heard back from them since Nick sent the letter. The Loop Road update, we got an email today. They are tentatively scheduled to start paving Wednesday and continue paving until that's completed. The email did not address Cade or Atman, so I'll get a clarification to that and CC the board. Those are the roads that drop back to the townhomes.
They just don't have top coat on them either?
No. But they're still under construction.
Right.
Get-Go Transportation Impact Study. We received an impact study from Get-Go's traffic engineer. There was also a review letter from PennDOT. One thing that came up, but it would take the board's support, and Barry attended the meeting as well, as long as Frank and Barry attended. The way that intersection at Toys R Us is structured now is the right lane is a through lane only. The left lane is a left turn, and it's also a through lane. And that's how the signage, when you approach that signal, that's how the overhead signage indicates the traffic movements. What happens at that intersection, though, peak hours, is once the left green is activated, cars will go straight, cars will make the left-hand turn. Once the left turn arrow stops and it cues the other traffic to come in the opposite direction, one car actually can stop that entire lane of traffic. So if you're in the right lane wanting to do a pass through, your challenge is people jumping over because they don't want to sit in front of the car that's trying to make a left. Now, I based on personally driving it, and Barry, you could chime in if you want to, there's been complaints about it, there's been a lot of people that jump over, so we suggested to PennDOT to make that a left only and give the advance warning ahead of time that people know to stay in the left. Stay in the right if you want to go straight through, stay in the left if you want to make the left turn. And then they can adjust the queuing to clear that out, so to speak, so people can make that traffic. Because once this project goes in, plus with the other projects, plus when the Loop Road goes in, there potentially could be a high volume of traffic that wants to make that left.
And we don't want cars jockeying back and forth between those lanes as people are trying to rush up that right lane. They're jockeying out of that lane because there's someone in front of them, and it just creates a hazard. I think it makes sense. You know, we discussed it. We think it makes sense to make that left turn. PennDOT has to ultimately approve that.
But the township would have to, the developer cannot propose it. The township would have to tell the department that they agree with or suggest that this signal be changed to that configuration, and then PennDOT would allow the developer to do it, re-sign it.
Do we have to send a letter?
We'd have to send a letter. I mean, you don't have to, I mean, this is a lot of information. We just sent the letter. You can consider it. We can get back to it by next meeting. Nothing's going to change between now and then if you want to think about it further. But based on the feedback that we've gotten, that's a lot of complaints.
What's the cost?
There'll be no cost to township.
Is everyone okay, or you want to wait till next meeting?
You see any drawbacks to making that a left-hand turn only?
No. I don't,
Or you're good with
because
it too, you said?
Yeah, I'm good.
on several occasions coming up there, I've been, stuck there, and you can't, with the traffic on the right-hand side of you, you really have to force your way out if you want to do that. Then it causes a propagation of congestion all the way down. The intersection cannot clear itself the way it is right now. They can't change the timing too much on it, so it just, I don't think it's going to give the level of service the township would like.
Okay with it.
Now, if we do this and tell PennDOT it's supported, we can make sure that the developer understands this is his responsibility. He does know that, but we would do that. There's no cost to the township. That's fine.
They need that in there the traffic study told you that for them to be able to put that gas station there, they need to change that lane. Is that why we're going through this? I know why it came up, but I mean, is it?
It came up more so as a practical matter. The traffic study somewhat speaks to it, but not in detail. You can have a study, and then you can have firsthand what people see on a daily basis. So this is more of, when Barry and I spoke with the department about it, it's based on our experience living here and just traveling up that roadway with the traffic. And we felt that it would clear the traffic better. So the traffic study gives a lot of technical lingo about why it should or shouldn't be, but it doesn't dismiss it and say this is a bad idea. It's somewhat silent to it. They're saying basically no improvements are required at that intersection. I think we all consider and say when the loop road goes into place, and if there's a get-go that's positioned there, that's going to have, for example, the capability to refuel semi-trailers, if one of them gets there and he's wanting to make the left to go get fuel, he may sit there for a light, or maybe two because he can't get through. We're not talking about the regular traffic that we would see.
And if it's going to be a truck stop.
That's correct. They're going to want in there. So I think that lane change, a little further study on an intersection, the timing of those lights is warranted, which would be the developer's responsibility.
Does everyone think?
Let's vote on the next meeting.
Next meeting?
Broadhead Village, Phase 2 grading barn reduction request. They did complete the work on this project. So we currently have a bond in the amount of $10,752.90. We're recommending it be reduced to 0.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Next item is the Turner Lot Consolidation Plan. This is located at 106 Brobeck Drive. We reviewed it. There are no outstanding comments. It was also approved by the Planning Commission as well as Beaver County, so I'd make a recommendation that the board approve that consolidation plan.
Motion.
Second.
Yes.
The next one is I'll call it the Harbor Plan. I don't butcher the name. So this is, this lot fronts Broadhead Road, and it's going to be combined with a parcel in Mulberry. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission as well as Beaver County. They've satisfied all the technical comments, so I would make a recommendation that the board approve that subdivision.
Motion.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Last item we have is Lakeview Farms Phase 5 PRD. They attended the Planning Commission meeting and got their final approval. So the PRD process, typically there's tentative approval, which you've already gone through, then there's final approval. So they've gone to the Planning Commission. We got a revised submission that we're reviewing. Our last submission had several comments that needed to be addressed. And we intend to schedule a meeting with the developer just to clear the path forward. So it may be in front of you for the December meeting. That was just an update.
Can I ask a question about that? I had a couple residents who live directly behind that. Wanted to know if there was any compensation for them for the dirt and the dust and everything else. And I don't know if that's something that we can mention to him.
I mean, there's nothing in the ordinance. I don't know what they mean by dirt, but dust. If there was a complaint or a problem with dust, if they would contact the township, we could have had them take measures to either water or keep the dust down. I think after the fact, I don't think there's any mechanism in place for them.
They just wanted car washes. That's what they wanted.
Well,
yeah, they wanted car
we
washes.
could always give them the developer's phone number.
Yeah, they wanted car washes. I'm like, I'll ask.
Yeah.
So just to let you know.
And that's all I have on my second question.
Okay, Nick, you're
I
up.
think when Ned and I covered the easements, the conditional use, I'm the email Ned, I guess, on the technical end, because his letter had a lot of items that they need to comply with from the technical standpoint. We did approve it, but before we pass, or you should say, approve a written decision, Ned and I are going to get together and make sure we have everything together on the technical end so that we can adopt that. And the only other item I would have would be for executive session, which would be dealing with the Shell tax appeals.
Okay. Old business, the Center Township Industrial and Commercial Development Authority. I think we discussed that before about
Disbanding it?
Disbanding it.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to disband it.
I'll second that motion.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I mentioned to Rashad to just double check. I think if it was adopted by, or excuse me, if it was established by ordinance, we may have to pass a brief one, just, I guess, to get rid of it essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Just to make it official. So.
Good. Tax collector, could I have a motion for replacement of our tax collector?
I'll make a motion to replace our tax collector, naming a new tax collector, Lou Francona, to fill the position.
Second.
I vote yes.
Yes. Nick, would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, with, I guess filling that vacancy, with being he is a township employee, so that's a prudent decision. I guess one of the discussions that
Part-time.
Yeah, part-time, yeah, that I had with the school district's representatives as well as a potential deputy was that having a township employee would be ideal, that if there were going to be hours here, having someone that's a part-time employee, it would be a smooth transition to do any collection. And then, whatever deputy, I think the discussion was that it would be an entity to do the collection and processing. So the only other condition I would ask the board to consider to make formal is that the acceptance of that position be conditioned on him obtaining his certification and to be bonded.
Mr. Ure, can I ask a question for the,
Sure.
just for the record on the board? The words that you just spoke, they were given to us in guidance by you from whom? Where did you get that information from? Like, I mean, so the guidelines that we had to follow to the decision that we came to replace our tax collector.
Oh, the
Second
what-
class code.
Yeah, the township code just requires that it be a township resident, that they have lived in the township continuously 1 year prior to, well, if they're elected, to their election or to their appointment.
Okay,
So
I just
that
wanted
was
to
the
put that on
requirement.
record.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Is that what you had on that?
No, that's it.
Committee report, George?
Barry, you have anything you would like to?
Nothing.
I mentioned this at the last meeting, at our work session meeting, and this is our official business meeting here tonight, that I attended a function up in the Sheraton Hotel in the south side of Pittsburgh to honor 4 of our police officers who were given an award for their outstanding duty, and it had a lot to do with the gas line explosion and getting people out of there, and our first responders helping to get everybody out of there. The 4 officers that were singled out were Corporal Lightchef, Officer Nolfi, Officer Householder, and Officer Lutton. So I just wanted everybody to know that it was really a nice affair. It honored some of the policemen and first responders. It was good news. You know, so many times all we hear is the bad news about first responders and our police officers, and this was a good thing. They went above and beyond their call of duty. So I just wanted to make sure everybody, and get it in the minutes, that they were honored for that. Thank you.
I will let you know, I did go to the website for that law enforcement award, and there's some very nice pictures of you and your officers.
We put it on Facebook as well.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, they did a good job.
They did.
It looks nice.
Thank you.
Rich, you got anything?
Nothing.
Lise?
Of course I do.
No, you didn't.
Just want to tell you all that Christmas is in the Park is December 1st. It's from 12 to 6 p.m. It's a free event. You have grandchildren, small children. Santa will be there. There'll be additional vendors there as well, selling Christmas cookies, food trucks. So please attend. Second father-daughter dance is December 7th, and it is sold out. We have an attendance around 456 people. That's all I have.
Chief, you have any? Billy, anything? Chief?
Just to reiterate and keep it short with what Chris said, just so you know, it was $25,739.20 was the total amount in that grant, which will bring 40 protective hoods, new cancer protective Nomex hoods that we can wear while fighting fire to keep the carcinogens down to the very important areas, 60 rolls of hose to accent our 20+ year tap hose, so we'll be replacing that, getting rid of the old stuff. 3 nozzles, 3 hose parts, like he said, to keep the hose off the ground at the firehouses, and 5 thermal cameras with chargers for the apparatus. So it's been a huge blessing and a good way to end the year. So it was a nice notification by Chris and then transfer on that.
Thank you.
The other thing is, our fiscal year's up. I appreciate the support for this year, winding down. 1,076 fire and EMS calls were answered by the fire department. So that's just calls, that's not hours. So obviously some of those calls could have been a substantial amount of time, but that was the total I got from the county today from Director Whipple. So it was 1,076 calls in response.
Good job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
New business, approve the list of bills for payment.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Yes. Approve treasurer's report.
Motion.
Yes.
Yes. Availability dates to meet with the fire department regarding consolidation, preferably in January. Like to do it.
Yeah, Dan McCaddy called today. He couldn't make the meeting. He wanted to know. You had a few dates in January to meet with them.
Do you want to do it on a meeting day or a different separate day? Or?
You did a meeting day. It's good by me. It's in January.
Yeah, what do you got?
So the first one,
January
sixth,
6th. Would be the first.
So we'd have the
6th and the
reorganization meeting.
Well, no, the 20th would be,
Is the
that's
first
Martin
one,
Luther King
that's
Day.
reorganization, the 6th.
Yeah.
It would be the 21st, because 20th is Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
it's good by me.
Does that work for you, Barry?
What day was it, the 20th?
21st. It's Martin Luther King, the 20th.
That's correct. Yeah, 21st works for me.
Okay. Billy? That is.
7 p.m.?
Well, that's township.
Six.
Township meeting,
Yeah,
so we'll either
township
go
meeting, so maybe
before
we
or
can meet
after.
Before?
6 o'clock.
Well,
6
unless
o'clock?
you want to make the township meeting earlier and you can meet with them after.
We have to, that's a special, I mean,
We have to advertise it
we have to
anyhow.
advertise anyways.
Whatever you want to do, I'll have to advertise.
It's up to you guys. However you want to do it. Just do it for 6 o'clock? Just do it for 6 o'clock.
It's good by me.
You want to meet with them at 6?
Yeah. Just do that. That's why maybe Doc will be able to go, because he can't. Is that good?
Yep, go first.
This time I'd like to approve our preliminary budget, 2020 budget with no tax increase. Got a motion?
Motion.
Second?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Any further from the board?
I'd
We'll-
like to thank Ginny and Rochelle for their help with our budget. You give us good snacks.
That's why it gets done quick.
No, thank you guys.
Okay, I went to do the food shopping, that's never.
Yeah, no, thank you guys, though.
There's nothing further. We were going into executive session. What'd you say that was for, Matt?
It's Rochelle,
Rochelle, okay.
tax appeals, yeah, litigation.
Okay, we don't need a vote for nothing. We won't be returning. Can I
Make a
have a
motion.
motion to adjourn? Motion?
Second.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.